In today's video, we're going to be diving into the fast-paced, long-running franchise, The Fast and the Furious. Today, we'll be ranking the coolest cars we have ever seen in the franchise. There are tons of incredibly cool cars in the franchise, and you're not going to want to miss a single entry on this list. So don't go anywhere. Ford Escort RS 1600, Fast and Furious 6. Kicking off our list, this little product from the Ford Motor Company is an absolute beauty that made a very brief appearance in the Fast and Furious 6. The car was never actually raced in the film, but was used for a more obvious use, to eliminate a tank from a Spanish highway. Because of course, that's how you use cars. This baby was the only car left standing between it, a Ford Mustang and a Dodge Charger Daytona, in a scene that sees the late Paul Walker's Brian O'Connor jump this blue and white rally car to safety in classic Fast and Furious fashion. This car had to make an appearance on this list. Gurkha LAPV Fast 5. I'm sure when people heard the news that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would be joining the cast of Fast 5, they assumed the production team would find a way to put him in a souped-up classic muscle car for the souped-up classic muscle star. But that couldn't be any farther from the truth. In a move that could only be pulled off by this franchise, they put the big man in a big car, giving his character a vehicle more reminiscent of a military vehicle rather than a racing wagon. But when you're introducing one of Hollywood's most famous stars, what other way is there to welcome him into the Fast family? Johnson's Gurkha is only in one scene where he smashes a path through the streets of Rio de Janeiro, but in doing so, it smashes its way onto this list and our hearts. Volkswagen Hulk Hands Touran, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. I don't care what anyone says, this car deserves a spot on the list. How can a car with literal Hulk hands on the side of it not make this list? Although it was only in one film and is not as practical or as fast as some of the other cars that will make an appearance on this list, it has freaking Hulk hands on it. Also, not to mention the original comic book depiction of Bruce Banner's Incredible Hulk plastered on the hood. It was impossible to leave this big green beauty off the list. Don't lie to me. If you could put big ol' Hulk hands on your green Volkswagen Touran, you would. I know it. Demo Derby Monte Carlo, Too Fast, Too Furious. This car makes the list not really for its looks, but for its unique role in the FF franchise. While it does have a cool look to it with its black, red, and white paint job, the car serves a purpose that no other car on this list does. It is supposed to crash into other cars. This car is used to show off Roman's car driving roots, and it introduces him to the franchise as a skilled car driver, but not in the way everyone else is. It does a cool job exploring other ways in which cars are illegally used, and in a series full of repeated content, it's refreshing to see a scene like this one, and for that, it makes this list. Also, this thing has teeth in front of it, and I was scared that it would eat me if I didn't put it on this list. Ferrari FXX, Fast and Furious 6. If you thought we could do a list ranking cool cars and not have a Ferrari on this list, you're insane. But this Ferrari stands out among the others because of its fantastic color scheme. The classic Ferrari red, mixed with the white partially covering the hood and roof, really make this car shine. Tej's FXX will forever be the coolest Ferrari in the franchise, and of course, like every other opinion we have for this list and other videos on the channel, we are 100% correct, so don't waste your time arguing. Suzuki's Honda S2000, Too Fast, Too Furious. This car was seriously in contention for a top spot, but we convinced ourselves that there are cooler cars in the franchise. But dang, was it a tough sell. This S2000 has easily the most unique paint job, and does it ever pay off? The lights that shine the same pink as the body of the car also add to the uniqueness of the vehicle, making it even more memorable to fans of the franchise. Suzuki also uses this car to completely jump a bridge, so that also helped it land so high on the list. The only reason this car didn't take the top spot is that fanboys and girls of the franchise would yell at us for not placing more iconic cars from the series above this one, so it sits here. But dang, is this car cool or what? Nissan Skyline R34 GTR, Too Fast, Too Furious. If you couldn't tell already, Too Fast, Too Furious has some of the most iconic rides in the franchise, even though the film itself is one of the weaker titles in the franchise. However, this car is no exception. An obvious fan favorite, it has relatively little screen time for how beloved it is, but it is a car that is often associated with Brian, which is why so many fans love it. It also has an amazingly sleek silver finish with light blue decals and under vehicle lights, making it one of the coolest cars in the franchise. The scene in which the car is showcased is also a fan favorite scene, showing Brian weaving in and out of cars on a highway, demonstrating the speed and ferocity of both Brian and the vehicle. Despite the film being not so great, it established a certain tone to the franchise that was improved upon from that point on, making this car's impact on the series significant enough to give it a spot this high, and above so many great vehicles. But it just barely gets edged out by a few other great cars on this list. Dom's RX-7, The Fast and the Furious. Although it isn't the most recognizable car for Dom to be sporting, it is one of the coolest one he drives in the original film. His red and silver ride cemented Dom as one of the coolest people in racing, and his car honestly did a lot of the groundwork. And an interesting fact about this car, the production crew and sound editors did not add any sound to this car for the movie like they do for most cars, which means the sound you hear when this beast pulls up to the race, that was the real sound the car made, which is not what a lot of cars on this list can say. This may not be the car most associated with Dom, but is one of his first cars driven in the franchise, and it is one of the coolest, regardless of the driver. And for those reasons, it had to crack the list. Dom's Ice Charger, Dodge Chargers, Fast and Furious 8. Dom is synonymous with Dodge Chargers. Introducing us to his dad's Charger that he would then make his own in the first film, he has been inseparable from a Charger ever since. But arguably his Ice Charger is the craziest rendition yet. This is a polarizing car for fans of the franchise. For starters, starters, it is specifically built to handle on ice, which essentially strips the car of most of what makes it a Charger, ironically. However, it does still sport an exposed engine, and in classic Fast and Furious fashion, it has an EMP machine in the back. Just when you thought the franchise couldn't get any weirder, they find a way by strapping a large metal machine capable of blackening out an entire city to the back of a supercar screeching its way down a road of ice. Because family, I guess? Dom's other Chargers have been much more realistic than his ice one, and have come in many colors and styles, with some having a blower, some not, some with an exposed engine, some not, some gloss black, some matte black. The list really could go on forever, but Dom's Charger takes the second highest spot on this list and second coolest car in the franchise. Brian's final Supra, Toyota Supra Fast 7. Although Brian's final Supra was only in the finale of Fast 7, it was part of the only well-done scene in terms of actual cinema. When Brian and Dom line up in a Supra and a Charger and drive off in separate roads into the sunset, it was a truly beautiful send-off for the late Paul Walker, and a truly great moment for both characters. While this Supra compared to the others Brian drives isn't the coolest, it is in the most famous scene from the franchise and causes the most pulled heartstrings of any other vehicle in the films. Brian's other Supras make the list due to them being the most iconic racing cars in the franchise, with Brian's first Supra being in the original Fast and Furious film with the orange paint job with a Warrior decal on the side. It's hard not to love this car in some fashion, and it is our definite pick for the first place as coolest car in the franchise. Do you agree with our picks for coolest cars in the Fast and Furious franchise? Which cars are too high? Which cars are too low? Which cars do you think should have made this list? Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next video.